Hey moms, it's Rachel here and coming to you live this week. We're going to be talking about the one thing that you should know when you're thinking about signing up for your next big run event. And big is variable, right? So for me right now, big is a half marathon. At one point, a 5K and a 10K was big. In the past, when I was training, like an ultra marathon or a multi-day event was big. So whatever that is for you, okay? So whatever your next event is, we're going to talk about how to prepare for that. And we're going to talk about some practical questions to ask yourself. And then I want to talk about the one thing that you should know right before you hit that pay button, right before you hit that sign up button. Okay. So when you get here, say hi, say hello. I always love to see who is hopping on here. Hey, Autumn, nice to see you. So we're talking about what you need to know before you sign up for your next event. Maybe it's your first event, okay? Well, I know a lot of you have taken up running sort of when COVID hit, and so maybe you haven't done an event yet. So that's an exciting time too. So this is for you if you're considering signing up for a race or an event. Doesn't matter, like I said, whatever the distance is. Maybe you've been on the fence about it for various reasons. Maybe you get butterflies when you think about it, right? Maybe you're like so excited about it. Maybe you're nervous about it. Drop in the comments, like, what is it? Like, what do you feel? What do you think about when you think about signing up for an event or doing a distance, maybe a distance you've never done before? Maybe you have a time goal that you've never hit before, that you've never aimed for before, right? So like, what are those things that you're feeling? Because they can be a whole different, a whole bag of emotions for us. And maybe you're concerned, like, I really would like to do, a marathon, but like, how do I fit it in with however many kids you have at home? Or how do I fit it in with, working full time or working 12-hour shifts or, with daycare or with being a single mom? I've done that route too of training and being a single mom. Like, how am I going to fit it in? I don't know if I can commit to the training. I don't know if I can commit. I don't know if I can finish, right? So those are all, maybe doubts or fears that you might have that might be coming up. About doing an event, right? And I've experienced sort of the whole gamut of things where there's like the excitement of like doing something new. There's like the fear and the doubt of like, will I be able to actually finish? And then there's always like how am I going to fit it in? Like working full time, child in school. Right now it's, I'm working part-time, running my own business. I have 3 kids at home, one going into kindergarten this fall. And so it's like being able to, how do you like manage all that and fit it all in? Because that like fear factor and that little bit of self-doubt that can creep in, right? So I want you to know you're not alone. I've definitely experienced those things before. And usually when when there's an event that I have my eye on, how do I know that it's the right time or the right event to do, right? How do I know it's the right distance to do? Usually it's something that is like on my mind or in my heart, every day. It's something that you like think about, like any like big thing in life, right? Like where you're thinking about it, a lot, right? You're thinking about it every single day. Usually to me, that means that's sort of my instinct of like, yeah, I think I should definitely go for it. I think I should definitely do it. And even though I've had challenges, right? Trying to do it on my own, going through marriage, adapting to more children, having a teenager, right? Working full time, working from home. The working from home thing is new for me, as of recently. But I've accomplished pretty amazing things over the years, right? Like if you're new to my world, I've done, multi-day events. I've done marathons and half marathons, sort of more than I've sort of lost track of how many I've done. I've done so many. And like every time, like I'm training for a half marathon now, and I don't know if you're following along, but like every time I sign up for another event, like this is a new experience in a different part of my journey right now. My 4th postpartum journey, my 3rd one where I'm running, with 3 kids, 5 and under. It's like a different ball game. Like it's totally different than like training for an ultra with a kid in school and working full time. Like that's different than being home all day with my kids, trying to work from home and trying to train at the same time, right? So like it's a different level of challenge. Like if you want to, I'd love to hear like what your challenges are. Like what are your challenges right now? Put them in the comments because I'm sure that either myself or somebody else in the group has gone through the same thing. If you're coming on just now, we're talking about the one thing that you should know when you're thinking about signing up for your next big run event. Give me a hashtag live or hashtag replay in the comments. Say hi, give me a wave. Give this post a like or a love because that also helps to boost it in the algorithm. Facebook has been kind of weird lately, and I know it's the summer and people are like not really online as much, but I feel like my live streams are not reaching as many people lately. So if you give it a like or a love, that will sort of boost it, and I appreciate that so that other moms can benefit from this too. So I've done some cool things. As of, the last few years, I haven't done as much just because of kids and life, and the desire to sort of do those extreme things isn't exactly there anymore. But, like I said, I don't have it all figured out, right? I've been in the place where you are now, and it hasn't always been easy, for sure. Like training for an Ironman, there's a fly in my house, that's why I keep doing that. Training for an Ironman while working, full time, and raising a teenage daughter, right? I've had my own doubts and fears about like being able to get back to running postpartum, especially after my second baby, where I actually had the thought I might have to actually give up running. I don't know if I can do this because I had pelvic pain and it lingered for such a long time. Different story now, right? 2 more kids later, feeling a lot better. Got back to running sooner after like 3 months. I think it was 3 months on the nose with this little one. And with my second one, it took me like over a year before I felt like I could run and feel like myself again. So I don't have it all figured out. I'm doing, like I said, different stage of my life, different part of the journey, different challenges, right? So they all are sort of come together. And so we need to evaluate and assess where we're at and then figure out a way forward, right? So I believe that the sooner I acknowledge like the doubt or the fear, then I can dig in and address it to move forward instead of like, oh, should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I? Like, what's really going on? What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of failure? A lot of times that's what it comes down to, is being afraid of failing, of letting yourself down, of letting your family down, of like investing a lot of time into training and then maybe the outcome or the event doesn't go as planned or as expected, right? So a lot of times those kinds of things can come up. But this is what I want to talk about, whenever I go to make a decision about whether to sign up for a next big event. So I mentioned like sort of going with my gut, like, is it something that's on my mind a lot? Is it something that is on my heart that I'm feeling pulled to do, right? That like gut instinct, right? There's a couple questions that I like to ask myself. And these are practical, like write them down, journal it. I don't know if you're a write it down, journal it kind of person, meditate kind of person. But number one is like, do I really want to do it? What is my why, right? Why do I want to do it? Why, like, what is your why with running? And then on top of that, what is the why? What is your why for wanting to do this particular event at this particular time? Okay, for me, I'll share with you my why is to prove to myself that I could do it, is that I could take on the next level of a challenge. When I went through some big life changes, probably like 10, 12 years ago, and I was like really like starting to get into running and like doing the next level of event, 10K, half marathon. I just had the what's next mentality. Like, what else can I do? What else can I accomplish? What else can I push my body to do? And now, like postpartum, right? My why is like right now, why are we doing this half marathon now? Well, it's been a couple years. I want to still sort of stay in the game. I also this is probably the last time that my 5-year-old is going to fit in the stroller. Like, we're probably not going to be able to run an event, do a stroller half marathon or a stroller event of any kind, with all 3 kids again. Like, this is probably going to be the last time. And so I want to, celebrate that, and I want to take advantage of the timing of that, of like being a year postpartum and feeling really good with my running. And I also want to like postpartum, like feel good doing an event. Like when I did a half marathon after my second baby, who's now 5, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good during it. It didn't feel good during the training. I didn't feel really great afterwards. So I want to celebrate this postpartum and do an event where I feel good, and to be able to do another. I've sort of done the half marathon after each of my last children, my last 3 kids. And so to like just celebrate having another child and celebrate like being able to like celebrate my body and to be able to still run distance and to still do those things, which is, it's exciting, and I feel good, and I love that I feel good this time around. So number 1 is, what is your why? Why do you want to do this running event? I would love to hear in the comments. Put a number 1 and then tell me what your why is. Why do you want to do this particular event? Okay. And then number 2 is, how can I make time for the training? How much time do I really need? And this is something that comes up a lot with my clients, where they say, I want to do a marathon or I want to do a half marathon. Those are kind of like the 2 main distances that my clients like to do. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because those are my favorite distances. Those are the people who sort of I'm attracting to me. But in any case, we talk about like, what is the practicality of like choose the event, and like, does it make sense based on where you're at now? Do you have enough time, 1, practically to train for the event? And then 2, like the actual, like when it comes to actually starting the training, do you have the time in your life, right, in your day, in your 24 hours to fit in the training? And how much training, like realistically, do you need to do? Okay. Sometimes some of my clients are overestimating how much time they need. Some are underestimating how much time they need. And then the question begs like, okay, so if I need to spend this much time training, on X days per week, or how many hours per week, how can I fit that into my life? Can I fit that into my life? And sometimes you have to get creative with scheduling, with your running. There's one mom in the group who I recently talked to, and she has to split her long runs sometimes into 3 or 4 runs throughout the day, because she's got little ones and it's not possible to like go out for a 4-hour run, right? So she needs to like 3 miles here, 6 miles here, 10 miles there, right? Like all within like a 24-hour period. And that can be like, I don't know if I could do it, honestly. But that's still training, right? You're taking like interval breaks in between, but you're still getting time on your feet within 24 hours, which is an effective way to train for a long distance event, right? So sometimes you just have to get super creative with how you are managing your time and how you're fitting it in. Okay. So number 2 is, how much, how do I make time for this training, and how much time do I really need? Okay. So if you put it down in the comments, put a number 2, put your distance that you want to train for. And then I want you to put an estimate of how much time you think you need, or how much time you know that you need to train for that event. I'm curious to see what everyone has to say. And then number 3 is, how is my body feeling right now? Like, hey Christine, nice to see you. Am I mentally and physically ready to take on this challenge right now? So sometimes there's a disconnect, and I talk about this a lot, a disconnect between mentally what we want to be able to do and physically where our body is. I see this a lot like post-injury. I see this a lot postpartum, right? Where we fantasize, or we think that we can do certain things at a certain point in time. And I see this a lot too in other like Facebook groups, like, I'm signed up for X marathon, but I'm delivering this day. Do you think it's realistic for me to still plan on doing that marathon? And I think you need to be honest with yourself about the time it takes for healing, or the time it takes for recovery from an injury, and sort of like assess how you're feeling now. Do you need to accommodate time to incorporate training for your injury or for postpartum healing in addition to the training for your event, right? So I'm a big proponent of use your event to heal and strengthen your pelvic floor, right? Not like do this first and then train for your event, but let's do it like all conglomerately together. And you know, like if you're still leaking, if you still have prolapse symptoms, if you have like a significant diastasis in your like your lower abs hurt after you're running, or your back hurts after you run, okay, you're not quite ready. So like doing a half marathon in like 8 weeks is probably not realistic. Okay. So really assess like how you're feeling in your body, what you need to do in order to prepare, and then set that goal. Okay, does that make sense? So like mentally, a lot of times like we're like, yes, I want to do it, but also like I don't know if I have the time, or like I don't know if I'll be able to finish. So like kind of come to terms with yourself also about like that mental piece of, you know, am I mentally ready to commit? Am I mentally ready to go on this journey of training while managing all the other aspects of my life, right? So those are the three things. So if you want to comment on number 3, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Like, am I mentally ready? Am I physically ready? Like, yes or no. And then if you want to elaborate, I'd love to hear your share there. So I want you to like asking yourself these questions, kind of tapping into how you're feeling around signing up for an event. Like, embrace whatever it is you're feeling. Like, know that these moments are going to happen. And like I said, I've been a runner since 2006, so it's been a long time. I know some of you have been runners for longer than that in the group, and I applaud you. I'm going for the longevity here too. I want to be a runner for a long time. But like the fear, the self-doubt, the like, do I have the discipline? Do I have the time? Do I have the energy to be able to train for my next event? Like, those things still come up, even though I've done countless events up to this point in time. So like acknowledge those feelings, own it, right? Acknowledge it, own it. And then it will help you to keep moving forward in the direction that you want to go. And like, these moments are still going to happen, right? Like I said, like no matter how long you've been a runner for. And I think that, you know, we're all human. We all have these feelings. It's completely normal. I think we also underestimate how strong and capable we are too. Like, I feel like the fear and the self-doubt, like if you're in this group, you are likely a motivated, passionate, driven, right? Like, person. And I think we often underestimate like how strong and how capable we actually are to do things. Like, just think about like a hard moment in your life, even outside of running, right? Maybe it was an event a running event that you had like a challenging or difficult time, right? Or maybe it was a life event that was like really challenging and difficult to get through. And you kind of look back at it and you say, wow, I can't believe that like I had the strength and the courage to get through that. Like, I think about my Ironman, like how many hours I was on the course, the thunder and lightning at the end, like being in the absolute pitch black and being able to finish. I think about like the Vermont City Marathon, where it was so hot one year that they called the event, and my husband and we decided, I think we were like 16 or 18 miles in, that we were just going to finish for the sake of finishing. Or, you know, other hard events, you know, in your life that you've been through, like my postpartum journey of like, will I ever run again? And here I am, you know, 2 more kids later, talking about this still and running still, right? I didn't have to give it up. I was able to persevere and work through it. So like, don't underestimate how strong and how capable you are. So this is the one thing I want you to know, is that like, you can do hard things. You are way stronger and way more capable than you think you are right now in this particular moment. So all of that fear, all of that self-doubt that you have, if you can mentally and physically commit, you do have the strength, you do have the stamina, you do have the willpower, and you do have the time to commit to doing an event, to doing all the training, and to completing the event. I have absolute 100% faith in you. So make sure to surround yourself with people who build you up, who have your back, who totally understand you, like myself, like the other moms in this group. We're here for you, okay? So let me know in the comments what things sort of give you the butterflies about a particular event, what challenges you the most, and if you know that you already know that you want some specific guidance in reaching your goals for your next event, go schedule a 30-minute call with me. We can chat it all out, and I will talk to you about what the best plan is for you moving forward. So I'll put that link in the comments. You can sign up on my Calendly. Spots are limited. If you can't find a spot that works for you, send me a message. I am willing to work with you. My schedule is a little bit crazy right now, so I do have some spaces and gaps to kind of fit people in that might not be on my calendar. So if you can't find one, send me a message and I will work with you to find a time that works for you. Okay. I hope you found this live stream helpful, and I can't wait to hear what event you're signing up for next. It's great talking with all of you, and I'll see you all again next week.